Hey there folks, I want to show you my collection of vintage Porter Cable worm drive belt sanders, and these are very interesting machines. Back in the 30s into the 90s, Porter Cable made some of the best and most expensive power tools in the USA. And this is the first handheld portable belt sander they ever made. It's the first model anyway. This is called a B5. It was made came out in 1926 and was made sometime into the early 30s. Got your on and off switch there. You have a worm drive. You've got the motor, a vertical motor, going to a pair of worm gears in this gearbox which drives the rear roller. They are a little lopsided, and they actually had a guide roller. There should be a guide roller here that was meant to counteract that pulling over. Most of the time if you find one of these, they've been dropped and that roller is no longer there. This was the first handheld portable belt sander ever made. Porter Cable invented it. Belt sanders up until that time were floor standing machines. This is a T3 from the 1930s. This restoration on this is not complete. I've polished it up, but it needs some parts. And yeah, it's a challenge to find parts for these old sanders. You either have to find a donor machine or have to know somebody that can make parts. And these sanders were actually, you can see it's quite an improvement from the earlier machines. It's better, it's more balanced than the vertical B series sanders, and in many ways it's a better design. This is a T33, which is very similar to a T3. A little bit bigger motor. It's an 8-amp motor. And you can see with the inline sanders, you basically got a motor in line with the sander, and then in the back of the sander you've got your worm gears. You've got a set of worm gears here. There's a steel worm and a bronze worm gear, which and then you've got on this side you've got a chain drive behind this box to transmit power from the worm gears to the rear drive roller for the belt. And one thing to note is you've got an oil level plug here for your gearbox, and then you've got a fill plug on top. Some sanders, like the 500, the fill plug is on this side here. But if you have one of these, if you find one and you plan on using it, you need to make sure these have gear oil in them. Periodically you need to take this plug out and see if you get any oil out there. If you get oil out there, then you know it's got enough oil in it. Now on the earlier 503 sanders, this is a 503 from the 50s, it actually has a dust a sight glass there, so that's pretty convenient. You don't have to take the plug out. The earlier 503s had that. Later on in the 60s they went to a plug, just like these. But if you run these out of oil, if you run them low on oil, you'll destroy the bronze gear inside, and then you've got a problem at that point. So it's very important to check the oil in these often. It's a good idea when you check the oil to run the machine for a couple minutes, because the gear oil is very thick, so to warm it up and then let it sit for a couple minutes and then check it. This sander has been rebuilt completely with new bearings. I was able to acquire a new set of gears because the gear in this sander, the bronze gear, was all worn out. Had the commutator turned, and it's a sweet running machine, awesome machine. This is a model 500 which came out in the early 50s. This is a 503, which came out about the same time. You can see they look very similar. Now, the 503 was made from the early 1950s until 2009, along with the A3/504, which I don't have one of those, but it's a very similar model. It just doesn't have the dust collection fan. And parts for these were available up until a number of years ago, and they last sold for, this sander last sold for somewhere in the neighborhood of about $800. But it's a wonderful machine. This is the dust bag for it. Goes on like that. This sander has a large dust fan in the back of the sander that pulls the dust out and puts it in the bag. It's an excellent dust collection system as far as you can have on a handheld belt sander. The 500 is very similar. It's even bigger. This is a 25-pound machine. The 503 is more like 16 pounds. The 500 has a 12-amp motor, and it runs on a 4x27-inch belt, which is most places don't stock that size anymore, but you can order them. Most of these machines use a 3x24-inch belt. There's a B10 and a BB10 that uses a 3x27, and there's also the A2, which uses a 2.5x21-inch belt. Those are pretty easy to find. I have one of those, but I didn't bring it out. Yeah, I think my favorite one of my favorites is the T33. It's a sand cast. A lot of the earlier machines were sand cast aluminum, and then in the 50s they went to die cast. And I still need, some of these are fixed up, as I said, the T33 and the 503. Others are in the process, or I have yet to start refurbishing them. Probably the next one I'll do is this 500. I'll tear it apart and I'll put new bearings in it. And it's real good to clean the gearbox out after so long, because the gear oil just gets so thick, and it just needs to be taken apart and cleaned. And these are excellent machines, excellent quality, and they are such good quality. If you find one, and all the vitals are good, I mean, if you find one and the gears are in good shape, the motor's not burnt up, you take it apart, you clean it, you put new bearings in it, do a few other things, you can have a sander that is just as good as it was when it was new, and you can give it, you know, another couple decades of service before you have to do the same thing all over again. And odds are most of these sanders probably have been rebuilt a couple of times in their life, as old as they are. In fact, the 500 here had a service sticker on it, so it was a genuine Rockwell service center, so somebody's been into it before, probably in the last 40 years. But yeah, these are great machines, and they're a lot of fun to take apart. They're a lot of fun to work on, and they're a joy to use. And thanks for watching.